vegan health food brand here in Bangkok, and yeah, we specialize in vegan desserts. So that is one of the many reasons that I choose to eat dessert most days, because our desserts are delicious and they're in my kitchen a lot. So that's one of the reasons. Thank you. Is it just this one?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So I'm a bit of an accidental entrepreneur, and what I mean by that is I had no plan to be a businesswoman, and I had no plans of ever having my own business. I actually had an idea one day that I ran with. I was in my yoga studio and I thought, maybe they'd want to start selling my banana bread. So I sent them a message. The next day they said, yeah, let's start selling it. And overnight, my brand was born. So I went from one day having no business and the next day waking up fully into the banana warrior. And then next week it blew up. And I was like, what? I have got no idea what I'm doing. So I've had to, thank you. Ah, that's nice. I've had to learn quick, right? So I didn't have any other option, and I really had no idea about business. I knew how to bake, so that's kind of what I ran on, right? Yeah, so I've learned about finances, learned about staffing. I'm still learning every day. But one of my favorite learnings, and one of the biggest things that's really had me in business, is that who you are and what you practice every day, and like Nikon was just saying, your thoughts, everything that you do, the way that you show up in the world is your business. That is your business. You are your business. And I don't think it matters what line of work you're in, and I don't think it matters what you do with your life. I don't think it matters what business you're in. You are your business. Your body image and the way that you feel about yourself, the way you show up every day, has an impact on how you interact with people. It has an impact on how you talk to people. It has an impact on everything that you're doing. So you are your business. Body image. So this is a subject that's really close to my heart, and something that I've become super, and to maintain and cultivate a positive body image? Is it something you think about?
Well, I started off on the complete opposite end. I had no self-esteem. But then I think I had a very similar epiphany to Nikon over there. Just stop giving a crap.
Yeah.
And the more I stopped giving a crap, the more crappy things I see in the mirror. And yeah, one day I just woke up and I was kicking things.
Wow.
Then it was gone.
Great, that's amazing. That's so good. Anyone else want to share? Somebody that put their hand up?
Well, for me, I also started off on the other end. And for me, it all started when I realized that I didn't know what self-love was. And then I did my research and I found out what self-love is, and I started practicing it, and that's when it came.
Yeah.
And I feel totally different about myself than I was 3 months ago.
Amazing, amazing. Anyone else? Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
No speakable content.
Sorry about the delay. It's a lot of speakable content.
Exactly that.
Just the same.
So for me it's function first, form second.
Right.
Form follows the function. I've always just enjoyed being able to do things physically, and then by having a certain performance, functionality, health, just feeling good, then the body's just a reflection of that.
Absolutely, and I think it's so much in the feeling good, isn't it, when you shift the focus to the feeling rather than the looking. Sure. So I'm sure thank you for sharing that, guys, thank you. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this diagram before. It's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So basically, Maslow has separated basic human needs in a pyramid. So it goes from, basically you need to have the lower needs met before you move up the pyramid. So we have psychological needs, safety needs, love and belonging. When love and belonging is met, then we can move to self-esteem. And Maslow states that this is where most people stop. He says when we get to esteem, most of us don't move past that because we don't consistently have our self-esteem levels met. And therefore, this is the crazy bit, we can't get to self-actualization. And self-actualization is the desire to become the most that one can be. And in business, any business that you do, that is fundamental to being a successful business person. It's being the desire to become everything you want to be is where success lies. But we have to get past esteem to get there. And actually that doesn't come before esteem, which is really interesting. So I think that just shows how important esteem is for business as well. So when we know that body image and self-esteem is so important in moving us forward with our lives and moving us forward with our business, why is it so hard for so many of us to cultivate and maintain? Any ideas? I'll tell you. In that case. Lucy Aframore is an amazing dietitian. She's very radical. She's actually a poet. She uses her poetry to talk about body image and self-esteem. And she says that we are constantly bombarded by messages that link our moral value to the way that we look. And she's right, it is everywhere. It's on the BTS, it's on billboards, it's on TV, magazines, internet, social media. It is everywhere. We really can't get away from it. So this is a typical billboard, right? And I just want to put it out there, I'm not hating on these girls, they're lovely, right? I'm sure they're really nice people, they're very beautiful, like good for them. But this is a typical advert for what we see, right, in the media. But that is a very small proportion of people, right? Yet the problem with this is we're not seeing a diverse range of people. We are seeing one type of person, really. And if you look globally at adverts, we're still not seeing an array of ethnicities. We're still not seeing an array of different body sizes, different ages, and different shapes. We're just not seeing that, okay? So the problem with this is that people are thinking, well, hang on a minute, I don't look like that, right? So there's obviously a problem with me, not the media, right? So we internalise that. You're like, I bought that bag and I don't look like that. So we try and make ourselves fit in with what the media is portraying as happy and normal, and you should look like this, right? So yeah, the media is definitely having an impact on our body image. Also, Instagram has a lot to answer for. Now, I feel like a slight hypocrite with this because those of you who follow me on Instagram, I know I'm very active on it, right? And I quite like social media. And I know that's not the dumb thing to say, but I also see that it has some serious negative impacts on our body image. So basically, the fundamental reason is that somebody could be so happy for 2 minutes that day, or even if they're not, they can portray happiness for 2 minutes, right? That's the 2 minutes that you're going to see on social media. You are not going to see the rest of the 5 hours where they weren't feeling that great that day. It's not an accurate representation of somebody's life, yet we take it as so. There was an amazing research study that went out by Oxford University recently on Instagram. It was an appearance-based research study. And they said that 97% of the comments that you see on Instagram are appearance-based, which makes sense because you're only putting photo after photo on that anyway, right? So 97% are based on appearance. It's lovely to give compliments and it's lovely to receive compliments, right?
But when
rather than the inside. And if you are someone like me that is constantly posting and, you know, updating for business or just personal reasons, whatever, you get used to that. So you are putting yourself out there for validation, essentially. That's kind of why we're doing it, right? And it's so nice to get that validation, but what are we being validated on? The outside, not the inside. The amazing, there's a new phenomenon as well, a new phenomena about Instagram, which is self-objectification. Now, self-objectification is we're putting ourselves on Instagram, and what we're then doing is looking at ourselves from the outside. So we're looking at ourselves as the object. So we're viewing ourselves as an observer. Okay, and so therefore we're literally moving from the inside to the outside and thinking, what will other people think of that? What will other people see when they see this? All of that is fine in small amounts, but if it's happening a lot, it's taking everything away from all of the natural stuff that Nikon was talking about as well. The natural stuff, the instinctive stuff, the magical stuff that's happening inside, it's taking us away, and we start living in that way too. Megan Crabby is the author of a book called Body Positive Power. She's Body Posi Panda on Instagram. Now, if you want to follow some really influential, positive people, this lady's incredible. And she talks about diet culture as well, having a massive impact on our body image, because that is also everywhere. So she says diet culture is why we hate our bodies, not because we're hideously flawed, but because we have been taught to. After this, she goes on to talk about the reason why diet culture and the diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar business. And that is because people figured out that if you tell people there is a problem with their bodies, there is a lot of money to be made by selling them the solution. She also says stuff like this, which I love. Okay, so how do we gain our power back after having so much of it taken? I think we touched on this earlier as well. Meditation has been the biggest, most fundamental turning point in my life. I found it about 6 months into my business, and it was life-changing. And what meditation does is it gives you introspective awareness. And introspective awareness is tuning right back in, gaining that instinct back again, which is so much of what has been taken away from us, okay? And so when you are tuned in, you know instinctively, naturally, it is built in within us to know what we need, what we want, what's good for us, what's not good for us, and it can give us, when we're calm, it gives us the strength to do those things. Meditation should be as essential and necessary as drinking water. I do it every single morning, and there's no single person that doesn't have time to do that, even if you have to get up at 5 a.m. It's honestly something that has to be done. Intuition as well. So when we're on the outside, how can we be instinctive when that all comes from the inside, right? The cool thing about intuition is nobody can tell us what our instinct is. I love that. Nobody can tell us what our instinct is. It is completely individual to us, and it belongs to us. And to me, that is so powerful, because, you know, when you're telling someone, actually, I don't want to do that tonight, or I don't want to have that now, or I don't want to go to this place, you don't even need to explain it. I just don't want to do it, right? Or I do want to do it. Thank you. And nobody can tell you what that is. That's okay. There you go. Yeah, thank you. Perfect. So for me, learning what you intuitively want, actioning that, and then moving forward with that is one of the highest levels of self-respect. Okay, so because we're getting all of these messages in the media and all of this stuff about diet culture and body image, this is something that I completely live by. And this not only helps my intuition with what I'm putting into my body, but it helps with my intuition in my life and in my business. I really have cultivated a deep sense of self and a deep sense of what my intuition is telling me. So this was an intuitive eating model developed by Tribal and Wretch, and they were dietitians in the 90s. Basically, they developed this model in 1995 after helping a lot of people lose weight in the 90s. So there were two dietitians. They created this nutritionally flawless diet plan for all of these women. All of these women lost so much weight, they got to their body goals, they were like happy with their body goals. But then they came back 5 years later and 100% of them had put back on the weight. And they had not only gained weight, they had also gained a negative relationship with food and a difficult relationship with their bodies. So Tribal and Wretch, instead of being like, try again, which most people in that time were doing, they were clever and they were like, hang on a minute, there's a problem here. This is flawed. 100% of our clients have just come back. We can't ignore that. So instead they were like, they actually came to the conclusion that external regulation doesn't work, because nobody can tell you what to do with your body and what to put in your body apart from yourself. Nobody can do that. There's advice, yes, sure, that's great, right? But at the end of the day, nobody can tell you what is right for you except for you. So they, instead of having strict rules and regulations, they put together this guide. And they said, these aren't rules, this is a guide to help you develop a better relationship with food and a deeper connection to your body. So this now is still widely used now globally, even in eating disorder recovery units as well. All over the world, people refer back to this model, and this is helping people heal their relationship with food and heal their relationship with their bodies. So another thing that's really worked for me is acceptance. That, to me, is one of the biggest points of self-care. Just accepting who you are, where you are right now, because this is life. This is it right now, where you are today. It's not what's going to happen in an hour. It's not what's happened. This is it. This is your life right now. And there's not to be, you shouldn't be waiting to live. Like, this is it. And I think just accepting where you are, this is the body that you have. I think really believing that you're doing the best that you can and always striving for your best, but knowing that you are you and you are here and you are seen and you're loved and you're heard is really important. So I'm just going to read you something. I actually wrote a letter to my body, which I'd love to share with you all. In fact, I've shared it quite widely as it is on Instagram, but I want but I would like to read it again to those of you who don't know. Dear body, I know that you and I will not be together forever. I know that you will not always be my home. And I want you to know that I think that you are truly glorious. It is important to me that you know that. Here I sit, both sad and relieved. Sad it took me over 30 years to fully appreciate the innate beauty that has been there every year of our time together. I am sad that I waited far too long to see that beauty and for making that beauty dependent on your size, your weight and your muscle tone. And the worst part, sometimes dependent on the views of others. I am sad that I allowed us to fight, that I was so close to communicating with you. I am sorry that my love was conditional when yours never was. Today though, I feel relief, deep relief. The battle is over, and it has been now for a while. And now together we fly the whitest flag, because I see it now. I see you, I hear you, I feel you, and I get it. The beauty exists in you and I being connected. The beauty is in my self-worth not being defined by your appearance, size and muscle tone, because that is ever changing. It always will be, because that's what happens with the ebb and flow of life. As I evolve and move through life, you gracefully adapt alongside with me. I am eternally grateful for that. Finally, I ask that you continue to be patient with me, body. I am still learning to listen. I wholeheartedly trust you, and I know that you know more than I do. I don't always find it easy, but I promise you this, that I will endeavour. When I am tired, I will seek rest. When you are hungry, I will eat. When you are full, I will stop. And when something feels off, I will take the time to heal. Because I feel the power of us when we move together. When we feel good, we move forward with energy, strength, vibrancy, and love. And I want that for us for the rest of our time together.
Yeah.
Okay, so why do I eat dessert every day? Well, I mean, look how pretty they are. And yeah, when my body calls for dessert, I eat dessert. I have the best desserts at home, so it's easy. And when my body doesn't, I don't. So many people say to me, Julia, how come you're not the size of a house when you have like desserts? Everybody says that to me. And I'm like, because I don't eat it when I don't want it, and I stop when I'm full. That's it, right? I don't overeat on when I do believe when you truly have a healthy relationship with food, you don't need to like stuff it all in. You know, it's all allowed, it's all okay, right? It's just learning to live in harmony. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.